headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my very own team selection for the upcoming Game Week 12. So don't worry, we're going to finally put Game Week 11 behind us after a quick review. I recorded on Monday afternoon, so we didn't have context of the Spurs game. So I'll be giving you guys an update on the overall rank and how the team actually ended up doing in Game Week 11. Then very quickly, we'll turn our attention to Game Week 12, as Game Week 11 was a pretty terrible one, and hopefully Game Week 12 is going to be significantly better. So I'll be taking you through my actual team selection as well as the planned transfer. I might be using 1 or 2 free transfers this week, and I'll take you through all those transfer plans. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over a quick review of Game Week 11, as mentioned, the quicker the better, as it was a pretty terrible game week, and we only managed to score 26 points. Now, game week rank of 7.3 million, but luckily it was a terrible game week for most managers, so the red arrow actually wasn't even that bad. So still within the top 1 million, but as mentioned in the transfer plan from game week 10 to game week 11, the green arrow was basically undone, and we're currently sitting around the 920k mark. That gives us an overall points of 652, and as mentioned, 2 free transfers, but 0.0 left in the bank. In the comments down below, let me know how your game week ended. If you guys did have Udogie or did have Romero, it probably got worse for you. If you guys remember in that video I said, if you have some Spurs options, your rank will definitely improve. I might have jinxed it on that one, so I do apologize. But let me know how your game week went. How many points did you guys score? Was it a red arrow? Was it a green arrow? And where are you guys sitting in the overall ranks? Now, kind of talking about that Spurs fixture, the only player I had in that game was Heung-min Son, and he only managed 2 points. Now, if you guys did watch that game, if you didn't, I definitely go watch the highlights. It was an absolutely mental one. Goals ruled offside, VAR decisions, and 2 red cards for that Spurs side. Now, I won't lie, after the initial 15 minutes, Spurs looked really strong. They looked like they were going to attack pretty decently. But unfortunately, after the first red card and then the second one, their attack was completely depleted. Also, to make matters worse, Maddison was subbed off at halftime with an injury, so that attack was affected even more than normal. So at the end of the day, 2 points was quite disappointing in this fixture. I was expecting a little bit more from Heung-min Son, but with the reality of the occasion, only playing with 9 options, yes, they still were quite attacking, but I'm obviously not going to expect returns from 9 men. But as mentioned, if you guys did have Udogie or did have Romero, probably was the worst game week for you guys, but really just kind of a freak result. So unfortunately, Heung-min Son didn't kind of boost our arrow that much. I think it stayed pretty consistent after that game, but hopefully you guys improved on that. But let's run through where the rest of that 26 points came from. Unfortunately, Archer was going to stay rooted to that first position after his 9-point appearance, a wonder goal, and then also some bonus points. Then we have Strakosha, Gabriel, and Taylor all with 2 points or 1 point respectively. But the interesting one was actually Strakosha. Flecken came off at halftime with an injury, so could Strakosha actually be the main choice for Brentford? I'm still waiting for an update in the press conference coming up probably on Friday, but if Flecken's going to be out for quite a long time, that's a nice enabler on our bench. Otherwise, Gabriel returned to the lineup. You guys will know in game week at 10, he was dropped for the Sheffield United game, so nice to see that he was back for that harder Newcastle game, even though they conceded. Then finally, Charlie Taylor with only 1 point was kind of a decision if we actually started in this game week, but I didn't really trust that Burnley defense, and that's how I put him third on my bench. So Areola was between the sticks for this game, only the 1-point appearance. So yes, Strakosha in kind of 45 minutes got the same amount of points than Areola did. And if you guys watched the Ultimate Guide yesterday, you'll know that West Ham defense is pretty bad, so we're literally relying on Areola to get us some save points. Our defensive department also didn't do that well, except for Gay. He got the clean sheet except for a yellow card, and if he didn't get that yellow card, could have been on for some nice bonus. Cash was also subbed before the 60-minute mark after conceding, so he's on 0 points, but at least it looks like he has recovered from that injury. Then the final option, Tsimikas, was benched, then came off, but I guess because Liverpool conceded already to Luton, I wouldn't have got the clean sheet anyways. So overall, a pretty bad game week for the defense, and as mentioned in the Ultimate Guide yesterday, not a lot of defenders I currently have my eyes on, so we have to make do with what we have. Then completing our midfield department, it's going to be Mo Salah on only 2 points, a really kind of shock result there, that draw to Luton. He did have some chances, should have got an assist for that Darwin Núñez missed open goal. But overall in this fixture, didn't feel like he was as effective, and I've kind of seen this over the previous game weeks, but at least in those games, he has been ticking along with the FPL points. Then Saka also ended on only 2 points after him not getting any returns, but as mentioned with Gabriel, quite a tough game against Newcastle. Our star player with almost a haul, even though it was only 7 points in game week 11, 7 points was a massive return. It's Jared Bowen with yet another away goal. So as long as he ticks along nicely in these away games and then complements them with hopefully some home form, I'll be pretty happy as West Ham have great fixtures coming up. Then the final midfielder, Adringa, was pretty disappointing, started this game yet again, but Brighton's form has dipped over the last 2 game weeks. Coincidentally, as soon as I bought Adringa into my team. Now Brighton do play tonight in the Conference League, so make sure that you guys watch out for that one. I'm just holding thumbs that he plays game week 12. Then finally our 2 strikers, don't really know what happened with Erling Haaland. He was subbed at halftime. I was expecting him to be rested against Young Boys. He played that game, started the fixture, scored 2 goals, so I almost think that Pep might be trolling us by subbing him in game week 11. But obviously it probably was an injury concern. They didn't want to risk him being 3-0 up. But I was pretty disappointed in the fact that Man City scored 6 goals and Erling Haaland only got 1 point. Then Ollie Watkins also ended up blanking, so the second week in a row that Ollie Watkins hasn't got returns after Aston Villa was shut out in their fixture. But as you guys can see, all these main returners as usual, consistency of Saka, Salah didn't even matter. Haaland blanking, only getting 1 point. What more needs to be said about this disaster of a game week? But hopefully your game week was slightly better than my game week. I've seen some massive scores with some differentials. If you guys owned a Bruno, for example, that would have been a massively nice haul. But most of us unfortunately on red arrows. But at least now we can put game week 11 behind us. I won't be talking about it anymore. Let's focus now on game week 12. So going on to the actual game week 12 team selection, as you guys always know, I love to give you guys the context before the transfer plan. So I'll be going over my starting 11 and my bench. Now we do have 2 free transfers, keep them in the back of your mind. I have to make a transfer this week, so predict what transfer I should make or suggest what transfer I should make in the comments down below. So let's start off on our bench, and the bench kind of pretty much picks itself this week. Strakosha against Liverpool, even if he was going to play, I wouldn't play him against Liverpool, as it is an away game and Liverpool are pretty decent at Anfield. Then Archer as Brighton, yes I could always start him, but at 4.5 I'm comfortable benching him. Same with Tsimikas against Brentford, that's a tough game, and Taylor against Arsenal. So therefore Areola will be between the sticks, but at least he does have Forest at home, a pretty decent game. But am I expecting a clean sheet? Probably not, with that West Ham defensive form. But maybe some save points can be had here, maybe a shock clean sheet also on the cards. Literally any returns from Areola and I'll be happy. Then our back 3 is going to be Matty Cash, who's recovered from that shoulder injury. Will he play tonight in the Conference League? I don't exactly know. Almost hope that he's benched and then is fit to play on the weekend. But Fulham at home is a great game on paper. They've been struggling from a forward point of view, and therefore the clean sheet's not out of the cards for Matty Cash. Now the big thing about him though is the attacking returns have simply dried up since I brought him in. Thought that he was one of the most attacking fullbacks. The stats are there, but unfortunately the real points haven't. So kind of big expectations for Matty Cash because the fixtures are drying up in terms of difficulty, and he could be a transfer out fairly shortly. Then we have Gay from Crystal Palace against Everton at home. Good game on paper, but you guys know Everton's stats are very strong, so I'm holding thumbs that Gay can get some defensive returns. But at his cheaper price point, the expectations aren't that high, as from an attacking point of view, he doesn't get on that many set pieces. Talking about set pieces though, Gabriel is definitely one option that loves to get some attacking threat. He has Burnley at home, great game on paper. I'd argue probably locked in clean sheet, as that Arsenal defense has been pretty good. Now fingers crossed he actually just starts this game. I don't really know if it was a good or bad thing that he started against Sevilla last night. I do believe he's first choice, but against Burnley, like Sheffield United, Arteta might rotate. So once again, fingers crossed that Gabriel plays this fixture, because if he does, the points are definitely there. But now let's go into our midfield department, and I'm going to start off with the armband. It's going to be on the Egyptian Mo Salah against Brentford at home. If you guys watched yesterday's video, the ultimate guide, from a stats point of view, definitely the best option. And as mentioned, Liverpool at home are simply a different beast. So although he hasn't been performing that well, his stats look pretty decent, and his XG involvement is always strong for Liverpool. But you guys can now comment down below who's your captain going into the upcoming game week 11. Is it like me? Are you going for Mo Salah? Are you going for Erling Haaland, Son, Saka? All great options. A very nice week for differential captains. Other options in my midfield department could be a Heung-min Son. I argued that he's probably my second favorite option. The fact that they were so attacking even with 9 men just showed the philosophy under their new manager. And Spurs attacking stats are strong and Wolves defensive numbers aren't that great. So probably my vice captain for the upcoming Game Week 11, I do really like Heung-min Son. And don't be surprised if I do have the armband on the South Korean by that Game Week 11 deadline. The same I guess could be said about Bukayo Saka, but I do worry about Arsenal's attacking form. Yes, last night he looked simply outstanding against Sevilla. A goal, an assist, a massive double-digit return. But the same hasn't been happening in the Premier League. So while Burnley at home is a great game on paper, I might be a little bit skeptical about this current knock. And I doubt Arteta gives anything away in this press conference coming up tomorrow. So it is kind of a wait and see. I guess if he's back in training and he looks fine, definitely could be a captaincy consideration. The projected points are definitely on his side. Then we have Jared Bowen against Forest, a great game on paper. I just hope that Jared can perform at home like he does away, as I'm quite happy that I went from on my wildcard. So big expectations here. This is a good game on paper, might not be the best, but I still feel like West Ham can score. Now it will be quite interesting to see what position Jared Bowen does play. Will it be at centre forward, out of position, or will he be in his natural position, kind of on the wings? Talking about kind of that wing play, our last option, Adringa, should hopefully start for Brighton. I do expect him to play tonight in the Conference League, but fingers crossed he gets subbed early, as I do really want him against Sheffield United. Great game on paper. Almost think if he starts, it's almost a guaranteed attacking return, and Sheffield United are the worst defence in the Prem at the moment. So might be kind of last chance saloon, unfortunately, for the Brighton winger. As mentioned, just hope he plays this game, as then there could be points. Then our final position in the forwards, it's going to be Erling Haaland against Chelsea away. This is a little bit of a tougher game on paper in terms of the stats. That Chelsea defence is in the top 5. But I guess what you could argue is that Erling Haaland can score against anyone. Man City are quite fixture proof. So if you want to go for the Camps, I can understand it, but I think the highest ceiling is elsewhere. But I'm still comfortable owning him. At least I own him and not own him, even though his ownership has dropped over the prior game weeks. Then our last option, Ollie Watkins. Now if Ollie Watkins can't score or get some attacking returns against Fulham at home, I believe that he might be a transfer out, but then watch him score after I take him out. Just a great fixture on paper here. Aston Villa are very good at home, so please just give me some attacking returns because you've been pretty useless since I brought you in. But if you guys watched yesterday's Ultimate Guide, my third favorite option in terms of Campsy, if he had penalties, would probably be second, but other options like a Douglas Luiz are preferred from the penalty spot. But still fine owning him, great fixture on the cards, but the fixtures for Aston Villa are drying up quite shortly in terms of fixture difficulty. But if you have to look at holistically, the starting 11, I do believe the starting 11 looks pretty decent. And here's where the problem does lie with those 2 free transfers. What would you guys do with 2? Would you use 1 to downgrade the bench? Would you use 2 free transfers to maybe swap out some funds? Upgrading a Dingra could be an option. I just don't know if I'd do that before Sheffield United. So I actually really do need help with the transfer plan this week, so if you guys have any suggestions, comment them down below, and I'll try to help you guys out with your own transfer plans. So go on to the actual transfer plan, and as mentioned, this week is pretty slow. The starting 11 looks good, the bench looks decent, but I do have 2 free transfers. So yes, I could actually burn a transfer, but in FPL, you usually don't want to do that, and therefore the move this week might be pretty boring, and that's Charlie Taylor out. So you might be asking me, why am I taking Charlie Taylor out, the 4.0 or 3.9, whatever price I bought him at? Why would you take out such a cheap defender? Well, the fact is, I could actually gain 0.1 by taking him to Bulldog from Sheffield United, and therefore this might be the move I do. Now, hands up, I completely understand this is an absolutely whack transfer to do. The simple fact is I have 2 free transfers, and I don't really want to burn one, so why not gain some value? Now, the only bad thing is I do actually prefer the Burnley defender to the Sheffield United one. Has better fixtures coming up, but doesn't really matter as they are so cheap and probably will be on my bench most game weeks. So yes, this transfer might actually be the one I go for as long as there's no kind of injury concerns tonight in the Europa and the Conference League or in the press conferences coming up tomorrow. Now there's one player I actually want to talk about, and that's going to be Tsimikas. If Tsimikas plays tonight, has a full 90 minutes and Joe Gomez is simply rested, I might actually take him out before Brentford. Now yes, I might not be playing him, he's going to be on my bench, but next week has Man City, but the bad thing is after that has 3 lovely fixtures. I think the fact of the matter is that if he is benched this weekend, he's a rotation concern, and even though he has great fixtures, I won't be confident actually starting him. So instead of doing the kind of boring move of Taylor to Bulldog, I might actually take Tsimikas out, but here's the tough part, what replacement do you guys think? Yet again in the Ultimate Guide, we went over the defender options. There's not many options at the current moment, especially at this cheaper price point. I can't afford to upgrade to someone like a Saliba. I've got 0.0 in the bank, so therefore I might actually have to go super cheap or go for someone the same price. But this might not actually happen. If I do believe that Tsimikas is fine for maybe after the Man City game, I might just keep him. But when I do have 2 free transfers, the mind does wander into future moves. So all eyes will be on tonight's fixture for Liverpool against Toulouse. If Tsimikas plays a full 90 minutes and Joe Gomez is rested, I might consider doing this move instead of the boring Bulldog one. But maybe you guys have suggested a transfer in the comments down below that looks even better. I might go for that one, otherwise I'll try to help you guys out on your own transfer plans. And hopefully I see you guys in the deadline stream coming up 1 hour before the deadline. But this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. As mentioned, deadline stream coming up on Saturday, and I'll be going over the final team selection. But for the time being, I'm going to sign off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.